Tracy McGrady's Orlando years, a scoring title, MVP votes, 32 points per game, yet playoff success eluded him. So, just how did one of the NBA's most electrifying players become forever linked with unfulfilled potential?
So when people say they with it, it's like they with me, and that feels cool.
McGrady's journey from high school phenom to NBA stardom is a tale of raw talent, determination, and rapid ascension. Drafted straight out of high school by the Toronto Raptors in 1997, McGrady entered the league as a lanky 18-year-old with boundless potential. His early years in Toronto were marked by flashes of brilliance, but limited playing time as he developed behind established stars like Vince Carter. Despite showing promise, McGrady's role with the Raptors remained limited. He averaged just 7 points per game in his rookie season, gradually increasing that to 15.4 in his third and final year with the team. The young McGrady, hungry for a larger role and a chance to showcase his skills, made the bold decision to leave Toronto in free agency.
Tracy McGrady's basketball career came full circle this August when he returned to Central Florida and signed with his hometown team, the Magic. It was just what the doctor ordered.
Every home game, my family and friends are going to be there, so definitely I'm going to want to come out and perform on a high level just because they're there. And the familiar faces that you see in the crowd, you know, you want to come out and bring your A game every night.
Tracy McGrady and Grant Hill, two young superstars the Orlando Magic had signed to set the league ablaze. The Magic's master plan looked unstoppable on paper. Championship dreams filled the minds of every Magic fan. This duo was supposed to terrorize the NBA for years to come, but fate had other ideas. As the 2000-2001 season began, Grant Hill's ankle troubles emerged as a serious, career-altering issue. The Magic faithful watched in dismay as Hill's playing time dwindled season after season, never reaching the superstar level that they had once anticipated. And there was T-Mac, suddenly the primary pillar of the Magic, the weight of an entire franchise on his shoulders. You could see it in his eyes. This wasn't what he had signed up for, but McGrady rose to the occasion spectacularly. His scoring skyrocketed from 15 points per game in Toronto to 26.8 in his first season in Orlando. The league had never witnessed such a transformation. Night after night, T-Mac put on a show. Crossovers that left defenders stumbling, gravity-defying dunks, and a shooting touch that lived up to the team's name. But with every highlight play, the pressure mounted. This wasn't just basketball anymore, this was survival. McGrady himself summed it up perfectly.
We were robbed of seeing greatness. G. Hill was such a great talent, such a cerebral player. Man, he had it all, bro. And it was just unfortunate that we never got the opportunity to play with each other consistently because of that ankle.
The league took notice at the end of that first Orlando season. T-Mac claimed the most improved player award, but at what cost? The bright lights of stardom cast a long shadow, raising constant questions about whether one man, no matter how talented, could carry an entire team. As seasons passed, the dream of the T-Mac and Hill duo faded into a bittersweet memory. The Magic had become the Tracy McGrady show, and what a show it was. T-Mac's game evolved with each passing season, but wins didn't come as easily as the points. The Magic struggled to build a strong supporting cast. Hill's contract, meant to secure a superstar, now limited the team's ability to bring in help. It was a perfect storm, but not the one Orlando had envisioned. Instead of championship parades, they faced an uphill battle every night. But this was just the beginning. The Tracy McGrady we saw in those early Orlando years, he was only scratching the surface. The scoring machine was about to shift into high gear, and the NBA was not prepared for what was coming. This one-man show was about to become a spectacle unlike anything we'd ever seen before. The 2002-2003 season was Tracy McGrady's breakout year. T-Mac unleashed a scoring barrage that left the league in awe. He averaged 32.1 points per game, a number that hadn't been seen since Michael Jordan's heyday in Chicago. But whilst McGrady was rewriting the record books, the Magic was struggling to keep their heads above water. It was a season of contrast. T-Mac's individual brilliance shone bright against the backdrop of team struggles. He was pulling off moves that had announcers fumbling for words. Crossovers, fadeaways, and thunderous dunks, McGrady's arsenal seemed limitless. But night after night, he was carrying an enormous load. 40 minutes a night, every night. The physical toll was obvious, but the mental strain, that was something else entirely. McGrady's heroics earned him his first scoring title, a historic achievement for the Magic franchise. But as the regular season wrapped up, Orlando found themselves limping into the playoffs as the 8th seed, and they were on a collision course with the top-seeded Detroit Pistons. As the playoffs approached, the basketball world zeroed in on this David vs Goliath matchup. Could T-Mac, this offensive juggernaut, topple a powerhouse like the Pistons? The narrative around McGrady was clear. Incredible talent, but no postseason success. And this was his chance to flip the script. You could see the fire in T-Mac's eyes as the series began. The determination was palpable. He knew what was at stake. His legacy, his reputation, everything that he had worked for. It all hung in the balance. As game 1 tipped off, the tension in the arena was electric. This wasn't just another playoff series, this was Tracy McGrady's moment of truth. Game 1 of the 2003 playoffs, Tracy McGrady and the Orlando Magic facing the Detroit Pistons. McGrady's performance was electric. His jumper was falling, his drives were unstoppable, and before anyone could catch their breath, Orlando held a 3-1 series lead. The basketball world was in shock. Could this 8th seed really knock out the top team in the East? It seemed almost assured, but then those fateful words came out of T-Mac's mouth. If only he knew what was coming. Game 7. The whole world was watching. T-Mac left it all on the floor that night, scoring 42 points. A heroic effort, but basketball is a team sport and one man can only do so much. When the final buzzer sounded, it was the Pistons moving on. The Magic and T-Mac were going home. And it was at this moment that the narrative around Tracy McGrady began to shift. The unstoppable scorer was now being labelled as something else. A superstar who just couldn't win when it counted. As the dust settled on that series, one thing became clear. Tracy McGrady's journey was far from over, but the road ahead had just got a whole lot tougher. The 2003-2004 season hit Orlando like a hurricane. T-Mac was back, but something was different. That smile that once lit up the arena was gone, replaced by a look of determination, or maybe even desperation. McGrady was carrying the team, but the losses were piling up fast. It started bad, and then got worse. The Magic stumbled out of the gate, going 1-10. The front office panicked. Doc Rivers, the coach who had been there since T-Mac arrived, got the axe, and just like that, chaos took over. T-Mac kept doing what he did best, 28 points a game, night in and night out. But this wasn't just about scoring anymore, he was trying to be a leader, mentor the young guys, and keep the team spirits up. It was a weight that he never had to carry before. And then came February 21st, 2004. T-Mac went off for 62 points and the Magic still barely won. A 4-point victory in a game where their star dropped 62 was a perfect snapshot of T-Mac's time in Orlando. And after the game, his frustration boiled over.
You know, my team is not doing so well this year. For a personal accomplishment, this is huge because, you know, I've been through some tough times through this season.
You could hear the pain in those words, the weight of expectation crushing down on him. As the season wore on, the story stayed the same. T-Mac kept scoring, kept trying to will his team to victory, but it just wasn't enough. When the dust settled, McGrady had another scoring title to his name, leading the league with 28 points. But the Magic, they were dead last in the East. The writing was on the wall, clear as day. Something had to give. T-Mac's time in Orlando was running out. You could see it in his body language and hear it in his post-game interviews. He was exhausted, not just physically, but mentally too. The constant losses, the pressure to perform, and the lack of support, it was all taking its toll. But it wasn't supposed to end like this. When T-Mac came to Orlando, he was supposed to be the savior, the one to lead the Magic back to glory. Instead, he found himself trapped in a basketball purgatory, putting up incredible numbers night after night, only to see his team fall short time and time again. The summer of 2004 brought a seismic shift to the NBA landscape. Tracy McGrady, Orlando's scoring machine, was on the move. After 4 All-Star appearances and 2 scoring titles, Tracy had reached his breaking point. The whole league was on high alert, phones ringing off the hook in NBA front offices. Then, on June 29th, 2004, the news broke. Tracy McGrady was headed to the Houston Rockets in a massive 7-player deal. The Magic were hitting the reset button and T-Mac was getting a fresh start. He was about to team up with Yao Ming, forming what looked like a dream duo on paper. Back in Orlando, the reaction was a mix of devastation and understanding. Fans had seen the frustration building in Tracy's eyes with each passing season. However, the Magic weren't left empty-handed. They got Steve Francis, Cuttino Mobley, and Kelvin Cato in return. As McGrady packed his bags for Houston, he left behind a legacy in Orlando. 28 points per game over 4 seasons, the highest scoring average in Magic history, and a highlight reel full of moves that had defied gravity. He'd given Orlando everything he had, night after night. To seal the deal, McGrady signed a 3-year, $63 million contract extension with the Rockets. It was a statement of commitment to his new team, a promise of what was to come. The Rockets were betting big on T-Mac, and he was all in. Tracy McGrady in Orlando was like a comet, blindingly bright, but all too brief. He arrived as a promising young player, and left as one of the most dominant scorers in the game. Now he was off to write a new chapter in Houston, leaving behind a city full of memories and what ifs. As T-Mac boarded the plane to Houston, ready to join forces with Yao Ming, the NBA braced itself. A new superstar duo was born, and the league was about to feel that impact. The Tracy McGrady show was moving to a new arena, but the memories of his Orlando years would linger. A testament to one of the most electric players that the Magic had ever seen. It's 2004, T-Mac steps off the plane in Texas, ready for a fresh start. The Rockets just paired him with Yao Ming, a duo that had the league buzzing. But the pressure is immense. Every eye in the NBA is on this new superstar pairing. That first season, McGrady's still putting up numbers. 26 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists per game. But there's a new fire in his eyes, a hunger for winning that goes beyond stats. Then, on December 9th, 2004, Tracy McGrady puts on a show that will be etched in NBA history forever. A comeback that left the basketball world in awe. For a moment, it felt like everything was falling into place. But history had other plans, another first round exit, losing in 7 to the Mavericks. T-Mac struggles and the questions start again. Yet, he wasn't giving up. He was battling through it all. Back spasms, shoulder injuries, knee problems, pain injections before games. The high-flying T-Mac we knew in Orlando, he was transforming into a warrior, fighting his own body. In the 2006-2007 season, T-Mac's still putting up impressive numbers, but the criticism's getting louder. But the playoff curse continues. Another heartbreaker against the Jazz. T-Mac puts up a monster performance in Game 6, but it's just not enough. Another first round exit. By the end of his Houston tenure, McGrady's averages had dropped to 15 points per game. The toll of injuries is evident, but his impact goes beyond the numbers. His legacy in Orlando is a tale of incredible highs and lingering questions. His game was poetry in motion, smooth and effortless, like he was playing chess whilst everyone else was playing checkers. T-Mac had that rare ability to slow the game down, to see things before they even happened. Those Orlando years, we witnessed something special. T-Mac was putting up video game numbers and making it look easy. But his career wasn't just about the stats, it was about the way he impacted the game, the way he inspired awe in fans and respect in opponents. Kobe Bryant himself said it best.
Who's the toughest guy you ever played against?
So, I mean, there's a lot of guys, but the guy that always gave me the most problems actually was Tracy McGrady.
Tracy McGrady?
Yeah. Tracy McGrady, man. Tracy McGrady with his, he had all the skills and all the athleticism, but he was 6'9", and he was really, really tough to figure out.
Yet, there always remains that nagging question, what if? What if T-Mac had more help? What if injuries hadn't derailed his supporting cast or his career? These what ifs don't diminish his greatness, but they do add a layer to the story. In today's NBA, with its emphasis on versatility and scoring from all positions, T-Mac would be a perfect fit. A 6'8" guard who could do it all. Handle the ball like a point guard, shoot like a 2, and his wingspan, it was giving defenders nightmares. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2017, a recognition that his impact on the game went beyond just wins and losses. It was an acknowledgement of his artistry on the court, and the way he could make the impossible look routine. Looking back on his career, and especially those Orlando years, one thing's clear. We witnessed something truly special, something that transcended the box score. Tracy McGrady wasn't just a great player, he was an artist. So maybe it's time we stopped focusing on what T-Mac didn't achieve and started appreciating what he did. Those countless nights that he left us in awe. Because at the end of the day, isn't that what basketball's about? Those moments that make you jump out your seat. Those moments that make you believe anything is possible. Tracy McGrady gave us those moments in spades, and for that, his legacy should be celebrated and not questioned. T-Mac in Orlando, a shooting star that burned too bright, too fast, but man, what a show it was whilst it lasted.